Hi, friends, and welcome to another episode of your Bish Therapist podcast. Please don't forget to rate, view, subscribe wherever you listen to your Bish Therapist podcast. We would appreciate that very much. And today's episode, I am so excited to have our girl, Lyndsay Lime, back on the pod, which if you're watching the video, it says Lynn Slay. So welcome, Lynn Slay, because you do slay, girl.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much. I do. Look, I feel like we're cheating on Brady, but y'all, he doesn't watch Summer House, okay? And I've tried.
We both did.
We did. You know, it's so funny, Melissa. So when the first part of the reunion came out, I talked to him the next day and he said, "Hey, did you watch the Summer House reunion?" I said, "Absolutely. I've watched it twice." And he was like, "It just came out." And I said, "Yeah." And he was so upset with me because I watched it without him. And I said, "No, hang on, sir. You don't watch this show." And he said, "Yeah, but I knew everyone would be watching the reunion and talking about it. So I wanted to watch it with my friend." I said, "How was I supposed to know that?"
Oh, well, okay. Here's the thing. Brady is probably having major FOMO right now because he's editing this.
I know, it's
We're
so
just
funny.
like here talking about Brady and he's like editing this, probably being like, "You bitches."
He loves it.
I know he does. And of course, you know, I forget to mention. So Lyndsay, if you don't know, she is one half of Recap Rodeo.
Mhm.
And please check out Lyndsay at Vanderpod Recaps on Instagram. And at some point, we will have our third, I would say. We're now a trio, I guess. That's just how we roll.
Our throuple.
We're just a throuple. So we'll have the third part of our throuple on it another time.
Yes.
Also, won't that be weird for Brady to edit him? Well, no, he edits you guys all the time. So of course he edits himself. But like, I don't know. That's just very meta to me.
It is. I know, it is. But hey, he gets to hear my voice twice this week. So you're welcome, Brady. He gets to edit me on this and on our pod.
I joke with Brady. I'm like, at some point, hearing the sound of my voice, you're going to start like having an eye twitch.
Oh, whatever.
But anywho, thank you, Lyndsay, for being here. And for everyone listening today, we are literally dedicating this entire podcast to part 3 reunion of Summer House because it was, as one of the producers handed the cards to Andy, she said it was meaty. She's like, "It's meaty." And I was like, "Oh, I feel like that should be the name of the podcast. It's meaty."
Yeah, it is. I know. And I thought, so I really enjoyed the first part of the reunion. I thought the second part wasn't as good, but then I thought this third part really, I don't even want to say it wrapped things up because I still have so many questions. But I thought it was good. So I'm excited to talk all about it.
Yeah. And, you know, honestly, I feel like the Valley has just been
yeah.
I know. And I just like, with everything going on with the death of my grandfather, which I want to take a minute to thank everyone for thoughts, condolences. I mean, people have been so lovely on Instagram, on Patreon. Thank you so much for that because it really does help me. So yeah, my brain has been all over the place and I'm just like, and it will continue to be today. So thank goodness I have Lyndsay here to help. Like, you can be like, what are those bowling guards? You know, when you bowl and you have the little kids bowling guards on?
Yes.
I
little
have Lyndsay
kids,
to be
honey.
like,
I still use them.
Do you?
Yes, absolutely.
I love that for you. And now I'm going to be like, oh, I can bowl. I just have to put those up. So
absolutely,
okay.
yeah.
So Lyndsay's here to be my guardian angel.
Yes.
And I mean, I think you're right. Like the first part, it did give us a lot. The second part, you know, second parts of reunions are always just like that part where it's like, you know, it's the middle. It's like, okay, but it's not what they want to show at the beginning and the end. So it's just like inherently not as great. But this third part of the reunion, it was like on I take notes on my notes app and it was like smoke was flying from my fingers. It was just like, there was so much.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, we could even like this podcast could have been, I swear to God, 3 hours. So let's just get into it, Lyndsay. Starting with the top of the episode where, like, one thing I love is when they have those moments where they're not filming, but we're getting film, you know, when Bailey's talking to Amanda or, Kyle and Amanda are hugging and you could hear their heartbeats. And,
Yeah.
I'm just thinking of like all these little moments. So where should we start? Where should we start, LL? Which, by
I
the way,
mean,
I love calling her LL. It's my favorite thing.
I mean, I would love to talk about, while it was short, I thought the Bailey and Amanda conversation was so interesting to
Yeah.
me because Amanda keeps alluding to all these conversations that her and West are having. And it really paints a picture to me of like, okay, this is how West gets girls, because I think that Sierra and West were also having a lot of conversations. Because Wes loves to do the, we're not exclusive, but I'll call them my girlfriend sometimes. And I know like Sierra had really strong feelings for Wes. And I think it's because they were having conversations very similar to this. And I think he likes to tell women, how much he loves them and how much he cares. And Amanda's very much stuck in this, but I'm Amanda. He won't do this to me. He's done this to all other women, but I'm cool. I'm Amanda. He won't do that to me. So I just like watching her talk to Bailey, I was like, oh man, like she doesn't even see. Like I bet Sierra has had similar conversations with Amanda about West, and the way she doesn't get it is fascinating to me.
So fascinating. And to me, it's like, and we're going to talk about this in a minute, but Amanda's lack of awareness, understanding, emotional connection, it is very alarming because you see Bailey. I mean, these people are crying and they're basically begging her to say, please see what we're seeing. We
Mhm.
like, and listen, Bailey to me, one of the things that frustrates me about this whole drama is that so many of these people who deserved more than they got overshadowed.
Yeah.
Like Levi came on for like 4 seconds and then she was
Yeah.
just like gone, like a gnat. I was like,
I
whoa,
know.
what?
I know. My favorite theory this season was that Bailey could only see Levi. Like it was like a Casper ghost situation.
Literally. Oh my God, that's so funny. No, literally.
So then it was like when she
But-
was on the reunion, people were like, oh, they can see Levi. Okay, so she is a real person.
Right. She is actually real. It's not like well, you're probably too young for this, but there was this movie when I was growing up. It was called Drop Dead Fred. And it
Oh,
was
yes,
about
I remember
this
that.
guy.
Yeah.
Do you?
Mhm. Yep.
Who he was like a invisible friend, but the kids could see him and he was like very mischievous and like doing really inappropriate things. Yeah, I thought she was Drop Dead
Yeah.
Fred for sure.
Yeah, that's Levi.
And shout out to anyone who understands that reference because that's definitely an older person reference and very niche. Very
Yes.
niche. But to your point is that, we see Bailey just like crying and just like so concerned about Amanda. And she, Amanda was doing this thing where she would start sentences and then just like trail off. She wouldn't complete her
Yeah.
thought. Because I think, well, at first I thought it was because she didn't want to say the tough part out loud. But now I just think it's because she's completely disconnected. And
Yeah.
I don't think Amanda knows what she's thinking or feeling. I have a feeling she's so disconnected from her body in many different kinds of ways
Mhm.
that she has no understanding of how she thinks or feels. So in reality, you can't understand somebody else how they think or feel if you don't totally understand that.
Yeah.
But I think you're right in terms of like West is so good at, I'm going to call it grooming because it's not like they're not children, right? But it's like, I mean, maybe love bombing would be another, like a better term for it. But
Mhm.
it's like one theory I had about West, because you saying, he's had these conversations with Sierra and like these women fall for him because he really does, I think, lay it on very thick, which is like,
Yeah.
I guess, more love bombing. But one thing that feels like grooming a little bit to me is that West has this pattern of taking people to his parents' home, Sierra, Kyle, Amanda,
Miho.
Miha, thank you. And I think he does it to create this false sense of intimacy
Yeah.
so that, it's very love bombing-esque where it's like, well, these people are important to me, so you're going to meet them. And then they think they have this false sense of intimacy. And then that's how he pounces. It's
Yeah.
kind of how I feel about it.
And he can just say, oh, but that doesn't mean a lot to me. But in the moment, I bet he's saying to them like, hey, I really want you to, meet my parents. You're I think we're getting close. Like, I think what he says behind closed doors, I think Amanda is holding on to that. And because that's why she doesn't want to hear anything at the reunion, right? What did she say last episode? I'm really getting sick of them, questioning us. I'm like, bitch, that's why we're here. I don't know. Like, they're going to question things and you're going to hear things you don't want to hear. But I think she's so focused on, but Wes told me this, so she's really holding
Right.
on to those conversations. But I mean, and I'm sure get more into this, but once Wes stops having fun, he's gonna ditch her.
Oh, for sure. I mean, and this is the part where race comes into it, right? Because, it's like Sierra talked about what it's like to be a Black woman, to not be chosen, right?
Yeah.
She'll be a plaything, she'll be a toy. And then all of a sudden, this man who is incapable of commitment, who is incapable of monogamy, is now going to be monogamous to Amanda, a white woman. It's like, it is just so rich with that contextual piece of race and what it is to be a Black woman today.
Well, and it's not only with West, it's now also with Amanda. She has another friend who is
Exactly.
not choosing her, which she opened up. She did an article, I think with Harper Bazaar, I think is what it's called. And she said, like, when she was in nursing school, she had a friend who is white and they were best friends, hung out all the time. But when that friend got married, guess who she left out of the wedding? Sierra. Everyone else was in her wedding.
No.
Yeah. So
I didn't know that.
there is that element of, I'm sure Sierra is like, okay, cool. Amanda, in this moment, I'm again not chosen, not even thought about.
Right.
I would have had more respect for Amanda this reunion if she just flat out looked at Sierra and been like, I actually don't care about you at all. I want to do this, because that's what Amanda's thinking. She did not care at all about her friendship, because had Amanda done this to Paige or to anyone, I mean, Amanda cried in the first seasons of Summer House because Lyndsay cut her out of a photo. And you're not crying on this stage because you have lost, because you lost your friend. Like, Sierra's no longer your friend and you're not shedding one tear. You do not feel bad. So I can't imagine Sierra sitting there and seeing that, when it just shows like Amanda just like does not care. But if she, again, I've seen her again on the show where Kyle and Paige were getting into it and Amanda and Paige were crying, sobbing at each other because they didn't want that to ruin their friendship. So we've seen Amanda have emotions for other friendships. Why not with Sierra? And I think Sierra's asking herself that a lot. I think she asked herself that, the third part. And that's where I'm just like, man, that I would feel gutted too.
Yeah, I mean, Lynn Slay with the tea right there, because that is such an amazing point about, I did not read that article that you mentioned, but it's such a good point about, again, she's not chosen in her friendships with white women. She's not chosen in her relationships with white men. And, this is something that is going to impact Sierra. Like, I understand that people are like, it's kind of like the Scandival effect, where I feel like people were saying, oh, Ariana was being put too much on a pedestal, so it's like we want to tear her down, sort of thing. I think that the same is happening to Sierra. But again, because she's a woman of color, I think it's happening in much more of a different way. Tons of, from microaggressions to blatant racism, because anyone that thought Sierra was being aggressive is out of their minds. So let's just say that. I mean, Sierra, I was in awe of how she handled herself and managed her stuff. So let's talk a little bit about the timeline, because one thing that happened on part 3 of the reunion is that a lot of the cast and viewers felt like we didn't get the answers that we wanted to get. And I maintain that that's because they are lying.
Yeah.
One thing I can tell you about West is that there is pathological lying happening, because it's over and over and over and over again, right? It's not just one moment of him lying. He's been lying this entire reunion. And one of the ways that helps me understand that these two don't have empathy or understand what's going on is they can't even take themselves out of this to say, listen, guys, we understand that this is wacky. We understand that this feels very icky. Like, they could have just come and said, we understand that this timeline is tight. We could, address it. But instead, they chose to argue about the timeline, which to me just shows the lack of empathy, awareness, understanding, just all of it. So
Well,
what are your thoughts about the timeline? And what are some of your thoughts on that?
so this is just my theory and what I have gathered and what I think. I think they are so committed to their weird timeline where they're really focusing on it happening in March. But even this episode is like, seems like things were happening in February, right? But
Mhm.
I think so. Amanda, in the previous part 2, she brings up how New Year's Eve of this year, 2026, that's when she decided that she was done. Kyle stayed out late. Well, Kyle, in an interview with People, he talked about how New Year's Eve, Amanda was supposed to go out with him. They got
Right.
into some sort of fight, I guess actually about like a brand deal or whatever. And he said it was weird because they don't usually fight about that. But she bailed last minute. Well, there's already been photos and videos that Amanda was hanging out with Wes that night. So
Right.
I think that New Year's Eve, I think something happened then with
Yeah.
Amanda and Wes, whether it
Mhm.
be a kiss, whether it be a conversation. I think that's when that happened. And I think that's when Amanda, right after that, was like, we need to put out a statement that we're broken up. Because Amanda can't be viewed as a cheater because her whole thing is, I'm a victim. Kyle cheated on me, which I have empathy for her, but I also know you
Sure.
decided to stay. You and Kyle, that happened and you
That's right.
stayed and you got married. So at what point, like, it is your responsibility as someone
Mhm.
who I have been cheated on and I stayed with that person, then I realized, oh, I can't trust you. You have to
Right.
then, like, that's on you to either work through that or end it. And
Right.
Amanda, I really think like she was like, wait, I have to get this out before something happens to make herself feel better because then that gets rid of all her victim narrative, right? Which she really holds on to. And I
Oh
also think
yeah.
she saw Amanda would not have left Kyle if she didn't already have her knight in shining armor, which is West. So I
That's
personally think
exactly right.
so I think an emotional affair started happening towards the end of the summer. And then I think January is when something physical happened between them. And then she was like, I got to nip this right away, get a statement out so then she could feel better about it. Now, that's just my theory, but yeah.
I love that theory because to me, all of this stuff, it didn't add up in terms of like, now, are you watching In the City, Lindsay?
Hmm. Yeah.
Okay. So on In the City, what is so wackadoodle to me is that this woman is having two separate storylines.
Yeah.
Her storyline here, like at Summer House, she's trying to say that she and Kyle were over and blah, blah, blah. But on In the City, she's trying to say, well, I'm moving out and I'm signing a year lease. And I didn't tell Kyle about signing a year lease. And I'm doing this so we can stay together. And this is so we can make it. And she,
Mhm.
she's lying. She's manipulating. She's doing all these things because what you said that completely resonates with me is that Amanda rides in the passenger side of her life and lies in complete victimhood. And
Yeah.
what frustrates me, so people on social media, they talk a lot about narcissistic abuse. And what I don't like is that somehow the way that people talk about it is it absolves Amanda of her role in anything. And
Hmm.
that's not healthy because to your point, right? I've been cheated on. You've been cheated on. I have empathy for what Amanda went through. However, Kyle giving her these outs, saying that West is manipulating her and she's vulnerable. Those things may be true, but it takes the onus off of Amanda. Like you at
Hmm.
some point, remember at the end of the summer when Sierra gave her a pep talk and she's like, you have to be in charge of your own life?
Hmm.
Well, that's what's happening here because one thing that really stuck out to me like a red flag was when Amanda was saying how when West said to her, like, am I crazy or is something happening here? Which, by the way, you know what I would have loved for Andy to ask? I would have loved him to say, time out. What date was that? What
Yeah.
date was that you said, am I crazy? Because to your point, I think that Amanda was looking for an out and so many people like her need an exit strategy. Amanda
Yeah.
wasn't going to be alone. She wasn't going to be
No.
alone. She didn't want to be on her own. She was already living on her own. Like I know people like that they just like they relationship hop from one person to another. And
Hmm.
that is Amanda's role in her own victimhood. Because if you like, this is what happens when we relationship hop and you don't manage your stuff. Because at least Kyle cried and had some empathy and some understanding. I'm like
Yeah.
looking at West and I'm like, look at what you're left with now.
I think that conversation happened New Year's Eve. That is my theory.
Yeah.
I think it happened like that is when a first conversation of, is there something going on between us? And I think Amanda, that's what she needed. That is what she needed to end it with Kyle officially. Because also, Amanda, why are you upset that Kyle was out for New Year's Eve? You guys weren't living together, right? You were separated.
Right.
So that's why I'm like, what?
That was my point exactly, that to me was a sign of manipulation because months before New Year's Eve, Amanda signed a year lease for an apartment when, by the
Yeah.
way, they were only talking about doing month to month. She signed that year lease, which to me is so indicative because it's like this whole reunion is about words versus actions. And actions are always going to tell the true story. Anyone can say anything. Anyone can spout any amount of bullshit out of their mouth. It's what do people do that tells you their true intentions.
Yeah.
And what tells me their true intentions is that West was like, am I crazy or is this something here? And then she was just like, okay,
Yes.
sure.
I know. That's why I'm like, there's more to it. And also, like, when I say all this too, I don't want people to think that I am just not thinking of like Kyle's part in all of this too, because I also think
of
it's
course,
insane
and we're going to
that,
get to that. Yeah.
yeah,
Mhm.
I think it's insane that Amanda and Kyle got married at all. And I don't really like this narrative of Kyle when it comes to him possibly cheating. And he always talks about like their lack of intimacy.
Right.
And I think when you're in a partnership, sex, intimacy, if you're not on the same wavelength, then you need to talk about that. And if you're not, and that's something that's really important to you, Kyle also could have been the one that left this marriage. And he didn't. Instead, like you know what I mean? So instead he complained. So I really hate that. He keeps saying that reunion of like, I mean, I didn't step out of my marriage, but was I inappropriate? Sure. But like, who wouldn't be? I wasn't basically getting anything at home. And it's like, okay, then you can make a decision about that. So I do think like both him and Amanda both like played a role. Like, I just want to make sure that's clear. I think both of them played a role in this, but I do think Amanda has really leaned into that, woe is me. I married a man who's still cheating on me. That is her whole narrative. There's no world where she can have people think that she also did that.
Right. And it's so indicative to me that West and Amanda, really all they care about is how they're viewed.
Yes. They only care about people not thinking it was an affair. That's it. They don't care about Sierra's feelings. They don't care about anything else. They care, this wasn't an affair, so y'all shouldn't be upset about it. When it's so much more than that.
And that's the part that just tells me that these people don't get it. And in actuality, they may be perfect for each other. Because, I mean, people want to put, I feel as someone who's been in the field for a long time, but I'm no longer practicing, is that people will make up all sorts of rationalizations, which is like a psychological defense mechanism where if we find something that we're doing inappropriate, we will make excuses for it and say, well, this is why. So like, for example, Kyle rationalizing why he cheated. Sir, you're responsible for getting out of your marriage, just like Amanda's responsible. It's almost like these two people were both like, well, what are we supposed to do? No one's meeting each other's needs. Like almost like, well, whose job is it to fix it? And it's like, well, it's yours.
Yes.
Why is everyone in this situation acting like relationships just happen to us?
I don't know.
It's so insane.
I also have to think like an element, of course, is the show, and both of them were maybe afraid to leave because they didn't know what that would look like in the show. More so Amanda. Sure. I think Kyle was like going to be on Summer House no matter what. But I think Amanda was like, oh shit, if I don't have Kyle, am I still going to have a career? So I think that's a part of it too. But like both of you could have made decisions when it came to your marriage. But again, I think the only reason why Amanda was able to pull the plug is because she had West right there.
Yeah, she had an out, which was, and by the way, if West is your out, ooh, that's rough, honey.
Right. That's what it was really hard to watch this part 3 because so many times of her being like, well, I knew some of that, but I didn't know all of that information. But it's still, none of it was clicking to her.
Well, here's why I don't think she cares. I think she was just saying the words to people like, oh, I didn't know this, or oh, I'll reevaluate. But her actions, what they told us is that she went to Italy with West. They had to flee the country because of how badly they behaved. They literally had to flee the country, go to Italy.
I mean, to be fair, Wes had I guess a wedding, but I do like to think that they fled the country.
Yeah, that's the narrative I'm going to continue with. Wes, sure, he had a wedding, wink, wink. Maybe it was Drop Dead Fred who was getting married. I have no idea.
So funny.
But there was like this picture that Amanda was spitting food in Wes's mouth, like baby birding him.
Disgusting.
like a mama bird to a baby. And I just thought, these are the actions that are telling me that these people, they're not evaluating anything. They don't care about people's feelings. They're not evaluating anything. They want to drink and have sex. And, like the one thing that Wes said that like was there are so many red flags, and don't worry, I do have them all written down. But one of them was about how he wanted to get back to the days of the early parts of when they were falling in love. Lyndsay's face
6 weeks ago. 6 weeks ago. Melissa, the way that my mouth was aghast.
And I was like, so either that tells me that these people, because I'm going to talk about, there's a difference between mature love and infatuation. Okay. And either these people are talking about a whole 6 weeks ago when their relationship was blossoming and fresh, or they're clearly talking about when the emotional affair was happening and nobody knew it. And that's my theory.
Yeah.
The thing that got their engines going is the fact that it was happening in secrecy, that nobody knew their little secret, that nobody knew what was going on. And that's what I think he was referring to, which is way before, January, all of that.
Well, and also, Amanda, girl, I wish that you were able to see this, because this is such a red flag, because this just shows me, okay, West loves the beginning stages of when he's talking to someone. Same with him and Sierra when they first started talking in the summer. I think it was season 8. So fun, right? So exciting. Cameras wrap, though, things get hard. And also he started getting DMs from other, women. So that when things get hard, West checks out. So he wants to already go back to those 6 weeks because it was easy, right? No one knew. They didn't have to they didn't have to answer to anyone. So when it stops being fun, he is going to check out. He's going to start say things like, even though this reunion, they said how they're monogamous, he is going to start saying like, well, we actually weren't. I just said that. Like he'll have some kind of thing. Like Amanda actually knew that we weren't. His whole story will change because when shit gets real, because here's the thing. I think Amanda and Wes right now are really into partying together.
Yeah.
I think this is just my personal opinion. I think alcohol is involved. I think maybe certain substances are involved. I think that is the relationship right now. It's very fun. When Amanda gets to the point, because I think it'll be Amanda first, who, maybe either wants to stop doing that as much or wants to, more of a relationship, he is going to bounce. And
no doubt.
The way that I just wish Amanda in that moment when he said like, I just wish we could go back to the beginning. Like the way I would have been like, oh, this is the beginning, bitch. If you're just saying that we have been together less than a month, this is the beginning.
Listen, Lyndsay, I've been with my husband for 24 years. Okay.
Yes.
Now, that could be something that we could say because we've been in a relationship for over 2 damn decades. Not 1 damn month. And if we were in the beginning and he was like, I wish we could go back to the fun part, I'd be like, sir, what? We're in the fun part.
Fuck? Literally, you're in the hunt. Like, it is so, that just shows you. I mean, West, it's 6 weeks and he's already like, damn, it's been 10 years with this woman. Like, that is
literally. Literally.
So Amanda, as soon as he like, and there's already little moments of Amanda trying to like nitpick him and like saying like, oh, don't do this or don't say that. Wes isn't going to like that. So he's already, you know what I mean? And he even said this reunion, like he feels pressured, right? Like they have this pressure of this has to work.
Did you notice when Andy was talking about commitment, West literally choked on the word commitment.
Yes!
He coughed twice.
Oh, he also, when he said, Amanda, like, you basically have to get married or she needs to get pregnant, he was like, oh,
Literally, like
the thought of that. He was like, oh God.
But Andy was like, West, you cheat on everyone. You're not monogamous and you're a liar and you don't tell people about it. And he was just like choking on the words of commitment. He was like,
but also the thing about West is he's kind of just like, yeah, like he doesn't even deny it. And that's what is just also a red flag. Like, Amanda, girl, he's not even like, that's not who I am. I'm so sad that it's portrayed like that. He's like, you know what? Yeah, I am actually a piece of shit. And I have zillions of women that I just lead on and I don't say anything. And my favorite thing to do is to tell them I'm exclusive. But then when they say it, I'm like, we were not exclusive at all. How dare you think we were exclusive for 14 months?
Because I told you that we were out of my mouth, but you didn't know that all I do is lie, lie, lie.
Yeah, like literally that is like what it feels like he's saying. And Amanda's just like, I love that man.
Yeah,
I love that man.
He's my person. What can I say?
Because he won't do that to me. It's such a high school mode of like, he won't do that to me.
Right. And it's like, Amanda, if you think that you are special enough to get this man's pathology to change, honey bunny, you're going to find out the hard way. And here's the thing, for everyone that's upset about this, the one reframe I give is that Amanda and West, they back themselves into literally the worst situation that they could possibly be in. And so that is, to me, that's their karma. Like, they're in it. They're living their karma right now because when they have their first fight or whatever, maybe they've already had it. Like, can you imagine? Like, I feel like West and Amanda, they're either going to like break up and just be like, who cares? Or they're going to like really go long term and then just be like miserable and unhappy. But either way, I can't imagine that these two are happy. But the one thing that I did want to get back to quickly is that a lot of people don't see emotional affairs as infidelity because there's no like physical intimacy. But it's so common and characteristic. Like, you don't go from being friends with your husband's best friend or a friend in the house to being in love in 6 weeks. That's absurd. That doesn't happen. But because the relationship resembles an innocent friendship or starts in a platonic space, people will downplay the romantic intensity. Check. Emotional affairs thrive in secret. Check, check. Lack of boundaries. Check, check, check. And require a lot of rationalization. So to me, understanding what an emotional affair is, to me, there's no question that that's what happened. But the problem is they can use semantics to skirt that, like all day long to skirt that.
Absolutely.
But essentially, so the other thing I wanted to talk about is that infatuation. It's a brief, intense emotional rush that's driven by idealized fantasy and physical attraction. So it's very similar. There's an addictive feeling to an infatuated relationship. But to your point, these are like when you're in 8th grade, when you're in 9th grade and you think you're in love.
Yeah.
This is what it is. And it is very funny that like West and Amanda, their chronological age is much older, but their emotional age is really, I feel like they acted like 15-year-olds on that stage, to be honest. And so infatuation focuses on perfection and is built on a surface level chemistry, while mature love involves a conscious commitment that develops slowly, being the key word, thrives on trust, and embraces flaws. So mature love will last, but infatuation will not. And that's how, again, I know for sure that if they last, they won't be happy.
No.
Guaranteed. Neither of them are capable of doing the things that you need to have a solid foundation, a solid, healthy foundation of a relationship. Neither one of them.
Well, and also, Amanda, wouldn't you be thinking, Wes literally said on stage that, there is this pressure. If I was Amanda, I'd be thinking all this whole time, is he just staying with me because he feels like he has to? Like that. Right. I feel like Amanda always has to like have some kind of, thoughts when it comes to like with Kyle, it was, is he cheating on me? With West, it's going to be, is he just with me because he doesn't want to look bad? So I just like, girl, the way that you could have left your marriage with Kyle and really like went to therapy and something about Amanda, just, it seems like she seems really against therapy for whatever reason. Cause it took her.
For sure.
Yeah, it took
Yeah.
Kyle and her a while to like go to couples therapy. And then Kyle talked about how like, she kept changing and couldn't come to appointments, which sometimes he couldn't either. So I just feel like, and I don't know. I mean, I get it. It was hard for me to get into therapy because sometimes you just, you know what, I don't want to process things or I don't want to talk about things. But
Yeah, sure.
the way that she could have done that, and then like Mia said it perfectly, I think was part one when she got out of her relationship and she was like, I'm focusing on me right now. And I
Right.
wish Amanda would do that. You think with Kyle, you didn't think about him like cheating on you. Like there's been tons of rumors about West already. Like it's just like she thrives in chaos. And I think she needs to work on that.
You are 1,000% right. The difference between Amanda and Mia is that Mia is a healthy individual who
Yeah.
you can tell in her behaviors is like, okay, this relationship with Scott didn't suit her. I think she was with Scott because after the death of her mom, I think she felt very lonely.
Yeah.
And listen, we'll take scraps when we're lonely. We've all,
Totally.
oh, honey, I've if is exclusively taken scraps, okay, for a lot of
Mm-hmm.
my life. But that is the difference between a healthy functioning individual and an individual who is struggling. And so I'm want to be mindful about how I say this, but a lot of things about Amanda give me red flags and real concerns for her mental health and her emotional well-being. This relationship with West feels very addictive-y. It feels
Yeah.
very based like when I was working in inpatient rehabilitation centers, right? Part of the thing when people get sober is to not have a relationship for a year because there are ways to utilize sex and love and relationships as extensions of our addictive behaviors.
Mm-hmm.
And there is just something that feels very Sid and Nancy, that feels very like addictive-y about Amanda and West, to be
Yeah.
honest. And to prove this point is that, oh my gosh, this was so wild. When Andy was asking, like, how did we get here? West said that this is what he explained, that they started going out a lot in February and March, which we know, again, we know is false. Like they were
Yeah.
seen together on New Year's Eve. But he said, quote, watching Amanda's happiness was a treat for him because he attributed it to himself. And I
Mm-hmm.
literally on Instagram, I wrote, the narcissism behind the statement requires a moment of silence.
Yeah.
Moment of silence for that narcissistic moment, because that is absolutely like there should be hundreds of red flags around that statement. That it's,
Yeah.
well, I was flattered because I was the reason she was happy. It's like West is in love with himself. He
He
uses
is.
women to like get what he needs and then he just like moves along. It's
Yeah, when
just,
shit gets real. Yeah, I
that's
feel
right.
like probably the same thing happened with Sierra with Mihad. Like he likes in the moment to, I think he loves bomb. And I know like a lot of those words like people overuse, but I really do think in this situation, like we are seeing that hardcore.
Yeah.
I think he would even admit it because he's not denying any of this. Um,
Literally. He'd probably be
I,
like, yeah, I am pathological.
right.
Yeah, you're
Oops.
right. Because what
My
does he
bad.
care? Well, he's like, I don't care.
I know. And so I think last summer, I think he really started seeing like, oh shit, I think Amanda and Kyle are really going to be donezo. I think Amanda behind the scenes was really saying that to people. And I think he right then was starting to gear up like, okay, because I think Wes has always had a crush on Amanda. I mean, he's talked about how hot that, he thinks she is. So I think this has been a long time coming. And so,
Well, and not to interrupt you, but to that point, did you see the preview for the bonus episode we're going to get when West sits down with Kyle and he says, do you want the truth even if it hurts you? And then he says, I've liked her for a long time.
yeah, yeah. And so I think that's very true. And I
Mhm.
think Amanda also knew that and liked that. What I think Amanda thrives when she thinks people like her and she
Well,
wants
take
that
the Ben
attention.
situation, right?
Mm-hmm.
That whole
Mm-hmm.
situation with Ben, where it's like
Yep.
she made up this lie, which, by the way, I thought we were going to see this at the reunion. Was it?
Girl, I thought we were going to see. Why didn't we get the Lindsay making a comparison to Gemma comment? They cut out so much. Like I don't know.
What?
Yeah, apparently Ben brought up on the reunion that those text messages that Amanda brought up, like that's not what happened, and Amanda apparently
Right.
admitted on stage that like she exaggerated or that's not what happened.
Right.
Why
And
that
so
was
what we're
cut, I don't
talking
know.
about to listeners, to be clear, what we're talking about is when Amanda was talking about how Ben was in love with her, and like in Italy, he had some infatuation towards her. There was like this group text where he was talking about how he wanted to have sex with her. And that was completely patently false. And that is, I understand with this reunion, there probably was a lot, but it's like, I feel like there are certain things that they should have put in, that being one of them, because Amanda has a need to be loved. And unfortunately, until she does that work for herself, until she starts attending to herself, she's going to continue to do this over and over and over. And by the way, we will always repeat unhealthy relational patterns that we don't address, and it gets worse over time. So I can't imagine who would be worse from West. But if Amanda continues to try to say, well, it was Kyle, or it's West, or it's Sierra, or it's everyone other than her, she is going to be very miserable and unhappy. And I don't want that for her, because she's a human being. And like, listen, I don't give a shit about West. I hope he just goes away and never comes back. But I feel like Amanda, like, I want her to do better for herself, you know?
Yeah, I think I always like to think that, like, I want better for people. But I'm not going to lie, watching like all 3 parts, I was really struggling with watching Amanda. Especially this part when literally Andy basically had to hold her hand and be like, what are you feeling? What are you thinking when it comes to Sierra? And she goes, about what? Regards to what?
In regards to...
Andy, you are a better person than I am, because the way that I'd be like, bitch, why are we here? What do you mean regards to what?
Literally.
What? Like, literally, I would have lost my goddamn mind. Her saying, what do you mean? Like, what? Regards to what? What did I do? I'm just a girl. I'm hurt. The way that anytime that she tried to apologize, and I put that in quotes, to Sierra, the way that every time it turned into, I'm so hurt every single time. And that's why I was like, I can't, like, I wish Amanda well. I hope that she works on herself, but I just don't think she's there and may not be there for a very long time, if ever. But I cannot stand someone when you are trying to apologize and you turn around and talk about how hurt you are. When that does not matter in the situation, Sierra is the one that's hurt by this. And I hate when again, Amanda tries to play the victim. You deserve a better friend. I'm such a bad friend. You deserve better than me. And because
that's a narcissistic statement. So there's narcissism in that, because it's refusing to own anything. And it's just like, oh, I've been such a bad friend. There's just like drama. Yeah.
Because for Sierra at the very, like, kind of towards the end, to really break down about that, because I think Sierra really in real time is realizing, oh, wow, this girl does not care about me. For Sierra to break down that way and Amanda to not show any emotions whatsoever, it just is like, again, I don't understand it. And I know there's been conversations about, which I'm sure we'll get into, Andy
we're
flat
going to
out
get
asked
into
them
it
about, beta blockers, which I know we're going to talk about, like, that's not like what they're on when it comes, what we're seeing. So I don't know, I personally, in my opinion, I do think West and Amanda were taking maybe other things during this reunion. That's just my opinion. But beta blockers does not explain what I'm seeing. But it just, with Amanda, I just, after this reunion, I was just like, okay, I don't fuck with you.
Yeah. And now I understand why Paige didn't fuck with her either. Like, now we get it. And now we get why Danielle said she was the least trustworthy. Like, the signs have always been there. Yeah.
And Amanda threw a fit and cried about that. That's my thing with her, is we have seen you in moments have emotions and tear up. But when Sierra's talking about how badly you hurt her and how in that moment you never thought of her, but for Amanda to be like, I was hurt. I was hurt because I had to tell my friend about something I did. Bitch, fuck off with, like, I cannot stand someone who's like, I was actually, I'm actually the one hurt here because I actually had to go tell her what I did. Like, shut the fuck up.
Yeah. I had to admit to it. But listen, let's get into the SSRIs, the beta blockers. And this is the part that I'm going to get on my soapbox for, because I have had it with demonizing depression, anxiety as diagnoses, demonizing SSRIs, and demonizing beta blockers. I have had it. I understand people want to know why and they want to find reasons. So I'm going to talk about this with the appropriateness that I can. So let me be clear about a couple of things. SSRIs, selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors, are medications given to people with diagnoses of disorders like major depressive disorder, different forms of anxiety disorders. SSRIs can cause something called blunted affect. It actually happens in a lot of folks. But what blunted affect is a restricted ability to express emotions, not to feel the emotions.
Mm-hmm.
Lack of empathy is inability to understand or share feelings of others. Okay. So by that definition, what we are witnessing at this reunion is lack of empathy. This is not due to SSRIs. Now, Andy asked about beta blockers, which number one, I was annoyed he only asked West. And number two, I would have loved for him to ask just about, are you both on something? Because it was so, the one comment that I got a lot in on my Instagram is that people were chilled to the bone by the lack of empathy of both of these people. And that's why people are searching for answers. But what I want to say is that when humans who have empathy and are good humans see that, we want to scramble and come up with reasons. Well, it can't just be that they're not good people. It can't just be that they don't have any empathy. It has to be this, or that. And so we are not going to demonize SSRIs here. They are life-saving for both of us, for many folks. But so blunted affect is, again, about emotional display, whereas empathy is about interpersonal connection. And the one thing that West and Amanda really struggle with is that interpersonal connection. Everyone on that stage was crying, very upset, distraught. And these two are just like, well, it was March and it was April and it's just like missing the mark so completely. So one of the really important things that Sierra posted, because I was going to post this about beta blockers because I had just had it, but she posted it and I'm going to share what she posted because it was so spot on. Beta blockers work by blocking adrenaline from binding to beta receptors responsible for the physical symptoms of anxiety, which is like increased heart rate, raised blood pressure, trembling, those things. The emotional experience remains, but the physical stress response cannot fully activate. And what Sierra likened it to, which she is totally right, is it's like putting your nervous system on do not disturb.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean you don't feel the emotions. And listen, beta blockers have their place, especially when it comes to anxiety disorders. If you're going to, like if you're going to be going to a reunion and you want to be able to stay composed, beta blockers might play a role, but a beta blocker isn't going to remove any sense of understanding, of interpersonal connection, of awareness of other people's emotions. Like SSRIs, beta blockers are not going to remove that, period. Let me just be really clear about it.
Now, can I ask you something?
Yes, please.
And you might get into this. I've seen this opinion online, and because watching Amanda and Wes, I've noticed Amanda literally looking like she's not there, and that could be her disassociating, but I also them kind of trailing with their words. Amanda literally she was about to fall asleep when she was talking to Bailey. I know there's been talk about potentially them being on benzos. Obviously we don't know, but I just want, because I don't know a lot about benzos specifically. If they're on that, could that explain the lack of emotions that we're seeing, or does that not even explain? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to be mindful of how I say that. So a benzodiazepine is like Xanax. That's a good example of a benzodiazepine. A benzodiazepine works very differently within the body.
Okay.
And it is more of a drug. So an SSRI isn't, there's always side effects for psychotropic medications. I want to be clear about that. But an SSRI isn't going to lead you to feel high or, foggy long term. Like if you're foggy, that's a side effect and it has to be adjusted. But benzodiazepines are frequently abused by people who abuse substances because a large amount of benzodiazepine can create the presentation that we're seeing from them both.
Okay.
It absolutely can, but it would have to be a very large amount.
Yeah.
It can create a lot of drowsiness, a sensation of feeling high, a sensation of dissociation from your body where you're not in your body. You're not, it's very different from like an LSD or something like that, but it's similar in the way it disconnects you from the feelings,
Yeah.
right?
Well, and I think there's a lot of speculation because like you mentioned earlier, we are trying to look for a why in this. And so
Right.
I know that's a theory of like maybe they taken this. And I know with like, I'm gonna be honest, when it comes to Summer House, when it comes to Bravo and reality shows, it's not a fun conversation, but substance use is a very unspoken thing. And I have to
Correct.
shout out my friend Emily Rose from like Who the Fuck Knows with Emily Rose. She
Hmm.
talks about with Bravo, it used to be they would say Adderall a lot, right? Like Adderall was
Hmm.
okay to say, but what's maybe possibly going on is cocaine, right? Right
Right.
now, the shift seems to be beta
And
blockers. We use that
yes.
term instead of other things. Like it's an uncomfortable conversation to have because we don't know these people. But I also have eyes and ears, and like I'm seeing something on my screen that I'm trying to rationalize. And like also like there's literally all a video of Wes getting drugs, like me and Brady talk about it like that. You know what I mean?
Oh,
So like
tell me, Lyndsay. I didn't know
oh
that.
oh yeah, this was like last summer. We literally he was at like a St. Patrick's party and we literally see like a drug deal. Like a person walks by, a woman is taking a video because she's just like dancing and she tried to get Wes to dance and she accidentally allegedly, I'll say allegedly,
Hmm.
um because you literally see like Wes like get something from a guy. Now, what did he get? We don't know. But you know what I mean? Like there's been a lot of rumors when it comes to West. And so I was just more so curious about that because I've seen people speculate that. And I was like, I actually like I don't know a lot about benzos. I know that they have been like heavily prescribed before and now doctors are trying to, not do it as much. But it's
Because
still
they're
very
very
much
right,
addictive.
because they're very addictive, and so sometimes here's the thing, benzodiazepines, and I'm gonna use myself as an example here. So I have complex PTSD, which comes with panic attacks and a lot of really intense emotional stuff.
Yeah.
I am prescribed Xanax, which I will take PRN, meaning as needed, but it's basically like a couple times a year, right? But
Yeah.
what happens is sometimes doctors will put people on benzodiazepines. And what happens with these meds is where an SSRI, your body's not going to get accustomed to that dose and you'll need more of it. But that does happen with benzodiazepines. Your body
Yeah.
will get accustomed to the amount, which is like drugs, like alcohol, right? Your body will get accustomed to that amount. And if you're taking it every day, your body needs more and more to obtain the same effect. And so what
Mm-hmm.
happens is sometimes people are prescribed it by primary care physicians, and then they end up having to go to inpatient treatment because they are physiologically dependent on these meds.
Yeah.
And it screws up your ability to feel and process the things you need to feel. So there is room for them to be used, but the way they've been used and talked about is massively, it's not great. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, so a couple other things I want to be clear about is the current iteration of the DSM is the DSM-5 TR, text revision. So people are like talking about anxiety and depression and could this be a result of that? And the answer is no. People with anxiety and depression, actually, it's quite the opposite. They feel things incredibly deeply. They feel things that aren't theirs to feel.
Yeah.
And that's a poppycock excuse. In the DSM, I'll be clear, is the only diagnoses that include lack of empathy are either personality disorders or neurodevelopmental spectrums. That's it. That's
Yeah.
it. Those are the only two. And so I'm going to be mindful about that piece of it because I'm not here to say that they have personality disorders. I'm not saying that,
No.
but I'm just saying that we're not going to demonize depression, anxiety, SSRIs, and beta blockers. We're not doing that. And the
Mm-mm.
last thing I'll say about the empathy part is that there are three parts to empathy. There's cognitive, there's emotional, and there's compassionate. So the cognitive is the thought, the emotion is the emotion, and compassion is action, which combines the thought and the feeling. Does that make sense? Okay.
Mhm.
So, in my opinion, they lack all three. They don't cognitively understand why these people are upset. They
Yeah.
don't emotionally understand or attend to the fact that these people are upset. And their actions are telling us that they don't feel empathy there either. Now, I'm not saying they don't have empathy, period, but I'm saying that's what we witnessed in this reunion, a lack of all the
Oh,
components of
yeah.
empathy.
I think I've seen Amanda have empathy with other people, but I'm not seeing it when it comes to Sierra. And I think that's such a slap in the face. And I was surprised in the uncensored or the extended version, I think Andy did ask Amanda, was your guys' friendship just for the show? And I really expected Amanda to say yes. But she did say, like, no, like that would be, uh, her wording was weird though. She was like, no, it wasn't that. That would be disingenuous. Like if I said that, like the way she said it, I was like, that's kind of weird. But she did say like it wasn't just for the show, where I was fully expecting her to be like, yeah, we were just show friends, which is bullshit. Like actually with that, because Sierra talks about how like she tried to get Amanda to hang out with her so much. You know what I mean? Like,
right. It's like it was clear that this was a one-way friendship. That it was like
yeah.
Amanda used Sierra when she needed her, which that's gotta
Yes.
feel bad, right? Sierra would like production flashback to receipts of
Oh,
Sierra being vulnerable, trying to lift Amanda up and being like a real friend. And then this is how you treat your friend. Like that's crazy to me. But I think it's just indicative of the fact that West and Amanda do not understand interpersonal connection and they
yeah.
don't really understand on an authentic level. That's why I think these relationships with Sierra didn't work out, is because I think we're watching two people who lack capability. They are
Yeah. Well,
incapable.
I can't like with Amanda, with the Sierra and the West of it all, that was supposed to be your friend. And you heard Sierra talk about him. And literally this season, we see Wes say, I resented you, Sierra. Like I didn't, and Sierra even said this reunion, I didn't realize like how much he resented and hated me, but he really has a lot of hate in his heart for her because he sees her as, oh, Sierra tried to make me look bad and basically stopped him from getting Bravo pussy is how he sees it.
But
And
it's
so,
like it didn't, because when he
no, you
was with
still are.
he was not only with Miha for 14 months, he was sleeping with 4 other people, including
Yeah.
Amanda. So it's like, yeah, but yes, your
But
point.
he sees it as now people are more, oh, he can't do it secretly anymore, right? Like people have eyes on him for doing that. And so it's so gross to me that Amanda just like doesn't even think about that. Like you are falling in love with a person who did your friend so dirty and has hate in his heart for her. Even the part 2 when he was like, I know Sierra like really gets under your skin. I'm like, the way that Amanda and Wes are probably hate talking about like to Sierra, like that
Oh,
gets them
yeah.
going. Because now I'm
Right.
thinking like, I think Amanda, her resentment with Sierra started when Wes came in the house and Wes started giving Sierra attention. I bet that's when she was like, oh shit, I don't like that. I want to be the one with attention. I feel like that's when it started because even a lot of this is fresh in
I
my
think you're
brain.
right.
A lot of this is fresh in my brain, y'all, because I just started watching Summer House. I got caught up right when the scandal happened.
That's
But
true. So yeah, you've been
yeah,
watching. You're a good historian.
yes, yes. But I just even remember like Amanda made a really weird comment but she just made multiple weird comments before when it came to Sierra and West. So I think that's when it really started with her because she thrives with getting that attention. I also think like
Right.
when Luke came in season 5, I think it was 5 or 6 with Sierra. I think Amanda wanted that attention from Luke and wasn't getting it. So, I just, I don't know,
I think
kind of
she's
bringing,
jealous of Sierra. I really do.
that's
I think
basically,
she's
yes. Thank
jealous.
you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Jealousy
I
is a
do too.
disease. Get well soon. I think she's jealous. I think Amanda is a black hole of needs because
Mhm.
she doesn't attend to herself. So again, I'm going to be mindful of how I say this, but there's some behaviors that I notice with her around her body and around food that gives me cause for pause, because I think that she has a very distorted self-image
Yeah.
and she's very disconnected. I don't think she knows how to attend to herself. And so when she sees other people getting things that she wants, I think instead of saying, how can I get this for myself? It's how can I manipulate other people into giving this to me?
Mhm. Yeah.
Which is like, oh, that's going to take a lot of, the thing with behaviors like this, because the question I've been getting is, can these behaviors change? I want to be clear that I have seen miracles happen in
Yeah.
therapy, in treatment. Anyone can change and grow and get better and recover from anything. There is only one requirement: motivation,
Yeah.
internal motivation. People will come
Yes.
into treatment, they're court ordered. Doesn't matter. People come into treatment because their families want them to get sober. Doesn't matter. The only way that we grow and change, even outside of addiction, is if we want to and if we are ready. And Amanda doesn't want it. She isn't ready for it. She wants to be in, I use the example, we're laying in our own pile of garbage because it's familiar to us. It's warm. It's shaped to our form. And then we get out of it with some help and we look back and we're like, how did I lay there for so long in that? We can't change what we aren't aware of. And I just think Amanda wants her head in the sand and she wants the fun and they want the dopamine hits and they want all of that stuff in their brain, that's what makes this feel addictive to me. But one thing I wanted to say is that we talked about this before, is that one of the most unhinged parts of this is learning that when we see the bonus episode next week, which, oh my gosh, there's going to be so much to talk about with that, but that West texted Miha, "You win."
Oh my gosh. I know. That is icky. That is just...
I mean, this is a man who told this woman, lied to her, saying that they were in a committed relationship for 14 months. She was putting together furniture at his house while he's filming Summer House. He's lying to her about, I can't have a relationship with you because I'll be fired from Bravo, which is totally manipulative because Miha was like, oh, I'm not in the know. I guess that's how it happens. He was lying, manipulating, cheating, and now all of a sudden, his response is to tell her, "You win." That's also wild.
It's also because he wants to have a conversation with her too. Like, there's so many you know what I mean? Like, he wants to, I don't know, like, he wants her to not look at him as a bad guy. So he wants to start to have a conversation with her. And I think that's just my thought, is I think Wes is the kind of guy to be like, "You win," and wants a reaction from her. And
oh, totally.
Yeah. And I think it's so, even in this reunion, the way that Wes can't keep his story straight, because at first it was, I don't think he was expecting everyone to have the receipts that they did. He would,
yeah, definitely. He did not expect none of that.
No, because the way that he was like, yeah, I broke things off with her in like November, December, which is funny because why did you have to break things off if you weren't exclusive? But okay. You broke things off in November and December. And Sierra was like, you sent her flowers on Valentine's Day. He was like, oh yeah, I did do that. And then she was like, you also you took her to a game with your family. He's like, yeah, but that was in January. Bitch, you just said you stopped things with her in November, December. But he's thinking of like, well, no, he's trying to be like, well, no, that doesn't go with like me and Amanda's timeline. Like me and Amanda weren't together yet. Okay, sorry, you're with Miha. But it's just like the way that he can't even get his story straight, and the way that he keeps having to say, well, she thought we were exclusive. Like, I'm sorry, but Wes, you are having different conversations behind the scenes. Like, you truly are. I've been there before. I kind of had a situation with a guy where behind the scenes, like when it's just me and him, he'd be like, I want you to be my girlfriend. And then kind of everyone else, it was like, we're a friends with benefits situation. Like, I know guys like that. And so it's just so frustrating to watch him. And then for him to kind of have a realization of like, oh yeah, like, I guess she was my girlfriend. Like, okay.
Well, and I know. And I just love that like Andy was like peppering him with questions and he would just be like, yeah, you're fine. I told her it's like he doesn't even care. His ease of lying is just like the most concerning thing. But I feel like one thing, maybe this would be good to kind of wrap up with, is that Jesse Solomon deserves so many apologies from the internet, because in the extended cut, which Lyndsay, you drew my attention to this, the extended cut on Peacock, Jesse explains that he was so emotional because during the summer, he found out that his best friend was sleeping with his ex and lying to him about it the entire time. Yeah. And I was like, well, this gives very rich context to why Jesse was a literal mess. And I'm like, why? It annoys me. I understand they can't keep everything in, but it was such a short, brief thing that would have explained so much that I wish for Jesse's sake they would have kept it in, because what we're seeing with Jesse is he is literally grieving. He is grieving the loss of two best friends who he thought were brothers to him, that both slept with his, that both did these like really terrible things. Yeah. And that's what we're seeing with the cast. We are seeing people, and I've seen this in therapy, where sometimes people go to treatment or they go to therapy and it turns out they have some really, really scary, problematic characteristics. That it's not the drugs, it's not the substance, it's just they have a personality disorder. And when you realize things about people that you thought you knew, it gaslights you because it makes you second guess your own ability to suss this out. It affects your ability to trust people. And so what we were witnessing with Jesse was literally a breakdown of grief and like, I don't trust people. I don't trust myself. Oh, and on Watch What Happens Live, apparently West told Jesse that he and Amanda are nothing compared to you and Sierra, which Lyndsay, my God, wood chipper.
No, there's so many things because first of all, like you said, I know they can't show everything and they do the, the uncensored and extended version so people watch it on Peacock. I get that. However, this is something I really wish they would have left in the Bravo version because I'm not going to lie. I was watching this. I was like, Jesse, baby boy, why are we so emotional about that? You know what I mean? Like, I understand like feeling, I think he actually was feeling a lot for Sierra too, but I was just like, where is this coming from? But understanding that he literally last summer was having another friend who was lying to him. And y'all, that's the biggest thing. And for people who have had people like this in their lives, it's not only the lying, it's they're making you feel crazy about thinking what you're thinking. And they're like, why, how could dare you think that? So for Wes, we learned that he was like, we're nothing like you and Sierra. We're the PG version. Sierra and Jesse did nothing. They did nothing. And literally. So him trying to act like what Jesse and Sierra was doing was so hurtful, which why was it hurtful, Wes? I thought you and Sierra were anything. Like, you can't eat your cake and have it too. Like the way that he's like all over the place. And then Jesse, this is what really got me is he released his timeline and he said on March 21st, they randomly go meet with West. Amanda's there too. Jesse didn't know. They all go back to West's place. And Amanda like sarcastically jokes, are you going to add this to the list of reasons why you think I'm fucking my best friend? That to me is psychotic. Because again, not only are you lying, it's how dare you think of that? Oh, you're going to add that to your little list of you. Oh, you think me and West are fucking? Ha ha, joke's on you. When you were. Like that is what drives me crazy. I cannot stand someone who lies to my face. And I think it's because I grew up with someone like my stepdad was like this, who would lie to my face and then be like, how could you think that? How could you think that?
Well, that is the literal definition of gaslighting. Gaslighting, the term comes from a movie, I think in 1940 something called Gaslight. And it was where this man, because back in the day, they used to have lights that used fuel and gasoline or kerosene or whatever it was. And so they would take the gaslight and he would turn them down and make her think that she's going crazy. And she'd be like, why are you turning these lights down? He's like, I'm not turning them down. You're out of your mind. These lights are the same. That is where the term gaslight comes from. And when you're doing that to somebody's face, that is the definition of gaslighting. And that is absolutely diabolical. It's not just the lying, it's the you're crazy for thinking and feeling this. And that is the part to me where that lack of empathy really lives.
Yeah, that's where I was like, oh, I don't fuck with any, you know what I mean? Like, I don't fuck with you because that to me, I've had friendships before and that feel like you literally feel like you're going to explode in your body. And it also turns around to you're like, oh shit, am I the bad person in this? Like, why? You know what I mean? Like, I must be the crazy one. I must be seeing things or there's no way that they would do that. So it goes like West and Amanda keep saying like, I'm sorry for lying. It's not just that. It's because, we see a lot with people when they're doing something and they don't want to take accountability or they want to keep doing what they're doing. So they lie about it. They're going one step above that in my eyes. And that is what I think they need to apologize for. But again, we're looking at two people who aren't sorry. They think that they're taking accountability in this episode, but they're not at all. And
not even
again,
close.
I would have had just more respect for both of them if they were like, we are having fun. We didn't think you guys would be this upset about it. Yeah. We actually think you guys are overreacting. We're going to keep doing what we're going to do, and we expect you all to get over it. Because that's really what they were
essentially in their
thinking.
behaviors, that's what they said, right? Because
That
the
is their
fact is that
behavior, yes, but their words are
correct.
different.
Right. So, and like we talked about, when it's called incongruence. So when our words and our behaviors don't match, that's called
Yeah.
incongruence. And when we're incongruent, our behaviors will tell the story. But to your point, a true amends, a true apology is not about, it's about us and us
Yeah.
alone. It's not about the other person, what they did wrong, what they did to wound us, what they did to harm us. It's about us and us alone. And it is shown, true amends is shown in our behaviors. And they showed nothing. They're not sorry. They're not acknowledging anything. It's just about lying and covering up, etc. So, Lyndsay, before we wrap up, any last thoughts about this that you didn't get to say that we didn't get to talk about?
I think the last thing I have to say is I'm not even looking forward to the bonus episode because the way it's edited in the preview, it makes it seem like Lindsay's coming with Amanda with information about, Wes is saying you're the one who, initiated things first. And basically Lindsay is coming to Amanda with information. And you see Amanda being like crying, being like, oh my gosh, like, am I stupid with this? And Lindsay's like, yes, you are, which I
Right.
love that so much.
Mother Hubbard.
But my thing is I don't give a fuck about that because we just saw Amanda and West in Italy spitting in each other's mouth. So whatever
Right.
Lindsay
Exactly
said,
correct. Yes.
yeah, whatever Lindsay said, it doesn't matter. And it goes back to really this whole episode of what you've been saying. Amanda on camera can say the right things or not even the right things, but she thinks she's saying like things in a way that make you think like, oh, maybe she's skinning it, right? This whole reunion part 3, I have a lot to think about. Which there was no thinking because again, what we're seeing outside of cameras. I think Amanda and West, in my opinion, are really holding on to because, being a Bravo content creator in this space, like it's such a small part of really like the big audience because a lot of the audience that watch Bravos doesn't engage like we do on the internet, right? I think they're really holding on to the people who just watch the show and don't really think about like what they're doing outside of the show. So Amanda in the bonus episode, we see her like, oh my gosh, she's really thinking about like what West is doing, right? Like maybe people start to feel for her. I think that is what Amanda and West are really holding on to and trying to perform for that audience. If that makes sense, sorry.
No, it totally makes sense. And I completely agree because her spitting food into West's mouth as they flee to Italy, that is what tells us everything that we need to know. Words are hollow. Actions are truly indicative of our behavior. So, Lyndsay, this was a marathon episode, but listen, we really did mention it all. We covered it all. I don't think there was anything left to talk about.
Yeah, I don't think so.
And I'm just so grateful for you being here because this was, I have my head up grief's asshole. And this has actually been really lovely for me. So sincerely, thank you. It's like an hour that I can feel, I can be myself and talk Bravo and, whatever, and then go dive back into the hell of grief. But Lyndsay, thank you so much for being here. Please tell everybody where they can find you because you guys got some stuff going on.
Yes. Well, first of all, friend, I love you. And I know we literally text every day, but I know, literally, I'm like, we text every day. So Melissa knows that, we've just been, everything you're going through right now. I have so much love for you. But so if you want more of me and also Brady, who's been on the show before, you all love Brady, but we have a podcast called Recap Rodeo. You can listen to us anywhere that you listen to podcasts. We also just launched a Patreon. Yay!
Ooh, yes!
So fun. The response to it has been amazing. We just I was like, I hope at least one person signs up. So just truly amazing. If you want to check it out, patreon.com/Recap Rodeo. You can get uncensored Brady, which is hilarious because y'all, sometimes I have to censor him because what comes out of that boy's mouth, I'm like, you're going to get us on a list from the government. Like we can't be saying that, Brady. If you want, uncensored Brady, if you want a bonus episode a month, we're growing it. We're just so excited for that. Also, we have an Instagram Recap Rodeo and then, any, podcasts, there's so much information going on. If you don't want to listen to it all, I have Vanderpod recaps where I recap verbatimly, what is said on podcasts. So just thank you so much. It's always a blast, Melissa. We'll definitely have to have you back on Recap Rodeo. I'm trying to think because, Summer House is wrapping up. Southern Hospitality is wrapping up.
Yeah.
Rhode
What are we
Island's
gonna
gonna wrap.
watch?
I don't know. Rhode Island's gonna wrap up. I was just like, okay, like what's going on?
Yeah, it's like, are we gonna have to take a hiatus? There's nothing to
Are
watch
you?
on Bravo.
Don't make me go to TLC Bravo. I don't want to do it.
Oh my God. Mary Payne. I have Mary Payne from Pink Shade, and she's like a TLC person, and she's always telling me, and I'm like, I will perish. I cannot do that. But listen, I don't know.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to figure it out.
Wives, that's about it. But don't make me watch other shows, Bravo. I won't do it.
So definitely please check out Lyndsay. Your Patreon is amazing. I'm so happy to be a part of it. You guys are a part of mine. It's just like, I just am so proud of you guys, and I'm so supportive, and I'm just seeing us. I love to see us grow and thrive. It's just like, it makes my heart so full. And for everyone listening, like Brady and Lyndsay have been ride or dies during this. I just cannot emphasize that enough. Without you two, I probably would have perished. So sincerely, thank you for that. And please check me out at Your Bish Therapist on Instagram. And of course, check out my Patreon.com/Your Bish Therapist. So today we'll send love to you and yours and say ta-ta for now. Disclaimer. Posts are not intended to diagnose, treat, or provide medical advice. Your Bish Therapist is for entertainment and informational purposes only. The podcast, my opinions, and posts are my own and not associated with past or present employers, any organizations, Bravo TV, Greyheart Productions, or any other television network. The information in YBT podcast and on its social media is provided for general informational purposes only and is not intended to diagnose or treat. Please do not act or refrain from acting based on anything you read, see, or hear on YBT podcast or associated social media. Communicating with YBT via email and or social media does not form a therapeutic alliance. Melissa, operator of YBT, is unable to provide any therapeutic advice, treatment, or feedback.